Hi folks, welcome to Cooking with Claudio. Today you can see fall has arrived and we're close to Thanksgiving, so we thought we'd do part of a Thanksgiving menu. So what's the first thing that comes to mind when you think Thanksgiving? Exactly, lasagna. Well, here we are in the kitchen, folks, and today we're going to do a Thanksgiving lasagna. Sure, I know, the turkey gets all of the glory on Thanksgiving, but growing up in my house, turkey was really the second meal. So our day usually started with an antipasto and then a soup, a traditional Italian wedding soup or little meatballs in it, and then we would do the lasagna. That would kind of be the first meal. Then we would all crash out for a little while and get up, and the turkey was really afterwards. So today we're going to do a Thanksgiving lasagna. Real simple, anyone can do it. Traditionally there are many versions of lasagna. Everyone has their little tricks or their little adds to them. Today I'm combining a couple of Italian traditions into this lasagna. So Grandma Serena and Grandma Chris, both of their recipes, I'm going to combine them to make one great lasagna that I know you're going to love. All right, for today, our ingredient list, going to need 2 small tin pans, 2 boxes of lasagna, and as a suggestion, buy the lasagna that you boil. I've tried the no-cook lasagna. To me, it doesn't come out as well. This comes out much better. We have some hard-boiled eggs that I boiled a little earlier. This is part of Grandma Serena's tradition. I'll show you what we're going to do with those. We have some pre-sliced pepperoni. Now, your choice. You can get the full stick of pepperoni if you like to cut them a little bit thicker. Normally what we do is we get the full stick of pepperoni, we cook it into the gravy, but for today, for this purpose, we're going to use the sliced pepperoni. Then we have our mozzarella. We're going to grate this up, but you can also use pre-grated, and this is a combined mozzarella and provolone. It's whatever you prefer. And then we have our ricotta cheese. Our final ingredient is our traditional Sunday sauce, which I started making this morning. We used the fresh sauce that we made a few weeks ago. I added meatballs, some meat. Now this is called braciole. Basically it's rolled flank steak, pounded out, and inside of it is some garlic and pesto, and then we hold it all together with a few toothpicks, and then we just have some additional meat in there. This is all beef in here, but you can use pork, you can use a little bit of veal, but this is a traditional Sunday sauce that we're going to use for the lasagna. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to boil our noodles. We have a pan of boiling water, and we're going to take our noodles out and we're going to put them in the pan, but we're not going to put them all in at once. We're going to kind of crisscross them a little bit so that way they don't stick together, and it'll make pulling them out a lot easier. Okay, while our noodles are boiling, we're going to take our boiled eggs. We got a little egg slicer. Just going to slice the eggs, spread them out, and we're going to spread these in the lasagna. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull the meatballs out of the sauce. We're going to leave the meat in there. We're going to get some meat and some gravy, and I'll show you what we're going to do with the meatballs. So this is part of Grandma Chris's tradition. She goes, take the meatballs out, cut them all up. Just going to cut them all up, and then we're going to mash them. You can just mash them with a fork, you can mash them with anything. We're going to mash them all up into the gravy, and then we're going to crumble this, and we're going to put it in between our lasagna noodles. So we've taken the meatballs out of our Sunday sauce, and now we're going to take our meat out, And we're just going to put this to the side because this is served as a side with the lasagna at Thanksgiving. So we're just going to cull it all out of here so we just have our sauce. We're going to take our crushed meatball. After we've removed the meat from the sauce, we're going to add the meatball right back into the sauce because this is what we're going to use to layer into our lasagna. Okay. Good. We're going to take our pan, we're going to put just a thin layer of olive oil on the bottom of the pan just so that the noodles don't stick once we bake it. We're taking our noodles out and we're going to layer them in the pan. Don't cook the noodles all the way. You want them to be a little bit hard, a little bit al dente, because they're going to absorb the sauce and they're going to continue to cook while they're in there. So we're going to do a nice layer of noodle on the bottom. On the first layer, what we did is we overlapped our noodles so that they cover the bottom of the pan. So we've done our first layer of noodles. Now we're going to take our crushed meatball. And all we're going to do is we're going to do a nice little layer straight across the bottom. You don't have, it's not an exact science, so you just want to cover it. Okay, so we put our layer of noodles and our layer of meatball down. Now we're going to spread our ricotta and we're going to fill in pretty much all of the holes in there, and no need to be, it will fill in as it melts when it bakes, so you don't have to go crazy with it. So here's the ricotta in there. Don't skimp on it because you don't want your lasagna to come out dry. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to take our pepperoni slices and we're going to add them just like you would if you were doing a pizza. We're going to layer them a little bit more than that. Now we're building our lasagna. We've added our pepperoni in there on top of our ricotta and on top of the meatball, which is on top of the noodle. And now we're going to add some boiled egg. So we're just going to take the pieces of boiled egg, and you don't have to layer them as much as the pepperoni. You just want to spread them out a bit. And it's just a nice little surprise when you kind of cut into that piece and you have this little piece of egg in there. So our next layer is going to be our mozzarella layer. We're going to use the brick mozzarella, and we're just going to cut it into nice, small, thin pieces, and so we can layer it. And now we're going to add our layer of mozzarella. Okay, so we're continuing to build. We've got noodles, meatballs, ricotta, pepperoni, egg, mozzarella. Now we're going to put another layer of sauce right on there. And this is what's going to prevent it from coming out dry. Nothing worse than a dry lasagna. Now we're going to add our next layer of noodles. Overlap them. And we're going to start the process all over again. Okay, so we've built our lasagna. We're going to add our top layer of noodles. What you're going to do when you put these on, your top layer on, you're going to get it on there. What you want to do is you want to make sure you tuck all of your corners in. This is going to kind of make a barrier so that everything doesn't flow out. And then lastly, we're going to cover it with our another layer of sauce, and then our shredded mozzarella. Okay, so we've built out our lasagna here, our last layer. We've put our noodles on, we've tucked them in, we've added a little bit more sauce to the top, and now to top it right off, we're gonna add our shredded mozzarella and provolone. And this will melt up real nice and get a little crispy on the top. And there's your finished product, folks. Thanksgiving lasagna. We're gonna pop this in the oven, and we'll show you what it looks like when done. Okay, I think it's done, folks. Oh yeah. Wow. Well, there's a little trick. I always put it on a sheet pan because it does tend to spill. And there it is. Thanksgiving lasagna. Thanks for tuning in. Please be sure to hit subscribe and have a happy Thanksgiving.